When Linux starts up, it begins running in something called a run level. There are many different run levels. You can see them on the screen here. Each run level has a different type of processes and services that might run. So you can start up in a run level where only a few processes might be running. You might have other run levels that have many different services and processes running. There are 0 through 6, 7 different run levels that you can start your Linux operating system in. Run level 0 shuts your system down. That's not really something we can use interactively, but if you begin and tell your system to go into run level 0, it will shut down the computer. Run level 6 is similar, except it reboots the computer. So generally, when we talk about an end user or an administrator using a run level in Linux, they're using run levels 1 through 5. Each of these run levels has different features and capabilities associated with it, and different distributions use run levels differently. So you'll want to look at your distribution to understand exactly how the different run levels are configured, and I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. Run level 1 is a very special mode called single user mode. We also call that run level S with a capital S or a lowercase s. If you're doing maintenance or you need to perform some type of troubleshooting to the operating system, you may need to start your system in that single user mode, and it's that run level 1 that does that. Run level 2, if you look at Debian distributions, this is a multi-user mode that has a graphical interface associated with it. Run level 3, especially in Red Hat distributions and others like that, this starts up in a multi-user mode, but it only gives you a text-based login screen. Run level 4 is usually completely empty. That's one that you can customize to be your special run level mode, and I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. Run level 5 is with Red Hat. Many others have a run level 3, very similar to run level 3, but now you get the graphical login screen. Let's have a look at how we can understand more about what's happening at each one of these run levels. The configuration file that's referenced when you start up your Linux machine is under etc init tab. This is going to tell you everything about how that initialization is going to occur depending on the run level that you've got configured. You might also see inside of init tab that it's going to reference a number of scripts that are going to run during that process. You may see them located in etc init.drc. On some distributions, you'll find it at etc rc.d/rc. These scripts are set up in these directories to either run in a specific order based on file name, although in some distributions it's based on a context that's added to the script itself. If you want a one single view of all of the different startup options at each different run level, you can run this command called check config, and that's going to give you an overview of exactly what happens when you're using those different run levels. Let's have a look. I'm on my OpenSUSE desktop, so I'm going to start the VI editor because we'll be able to see a little bit better what's inside of this because it will color code the information that's within this file. And let's open up etc init tab. And this is going to start, and you'll see as we look through this, there's a lot of documentation in the configuration file itself. Even so, you want to be very careful about making changes to this file, since this is one of the very first files that starts up all of these scripts to get these processes running. If you make a change in here, it could render your system in a very bad place. So be very careful about making too many changes in here unless you're absolutely sure what you're doing, and make sure that you've made backups. As we flip through here, we're going to scroll down a little bit and see what's there. Notice one of the first lines here is an ID5, and it says init default. And just like the name implies, this run level 5, will be the default when this system starts up if we don't choose any other particular value. We can see also the first script to be executed if we're not booting in an emergency mode is also here. It's this etc init.dboot. And now we scroll through here and we get a view in my particular distribution of what these run levels are set to. So we've documented everything here. When you look at your distribution, you'll probably have something very similar inside of this. After that, you'll see the run levels that are there and how they are configured. Notice run level 4 has the pound sign in the front of it. That hash means that that particular line is commented out. If we wanted to customize this ourselves so that run level 4 would work, I would need to remove that and then configure my run level information elsewhere. If we scroll down a little more, we can see there's information in here on what the system does when you start up into single user mode. You can see what happens when Control-Alt-Delete is pressed and so on. Let's scroll back up just a little bit. These are pretty important lines, the single user mode and all of these scripts that run in the different modes themselves. Notice that if I am in a run level 5, it's going to run etc init.d rc and then use that RC script with a value of 5. And that's going to start up all of the processes, all of the programs that happen whenever I start up in a run level 5. And of course, we could go to that directory and see exactly what's in there and see exactly the scripts and the information that's associated with those processes. Instead of manually going through all of those different sections of that init.d, all of the different directories that are there associated with all of the different run levels, and then trying to compare the different scripts that run at those different run levels, there is the check config command that can tell us exactly what's going to happen all on one screen. But I can't see that from my normal mode. I need to go into super user mode. And because this particular application is located in a directory that's only available in the super user's path command, I'm going to use the dash there so it will run the login scripts and set up my paths properly. The chk config, I'm going to do a check config dash list, and it will list out for us, I'm going to scroll back up so we can see this, all of the different run levels that are here. You can see 0 through 6, and you can see the names of the different processes and scripts that are going to run. Those are associated. And then you can see at what run levels do different processes operate. For instance, the ALSA sound property that's here, this particular script is going to run only in run levels 2, 3, and 5. Notice I haven't configured anything for run level 4. That entire column is completely off, but you can start to see where there might be differences. For instance, let's look at the network script that runs. The network script only runs on run levels 3 and 5. Obviously, single user mode doesn't need to have that networking script to run, so we're not going to see that turned on run level 1. If you wanted to add your own script or you wanted to find a script that might be running, you may want to use that same check config command. Now you can go into the directories yourself. You can look through the directory listing of those scripts. There are symbolic links set up so that they are pointing to the directories that are associated with those particular run levels. There's a lot of manual process associated with that, but the check config command can do a lot of this for us. For instance, if we do the -- list network, it will show us every time the network is going to run, a summary of what's there. If you have your own script, let's say that network was not already listed and part of these scripts that we were running, we can use the check config command and use the add option to add the network script into this list. And we can even specify what particular run levels we would like that to work with. That may be an easier way to go about managing the scripts that are running so that you're not going through and setting up those symbolic links and modifying all of those scripts yourself. Now that we know what the run levels are, it would be nice if we had an easy way to change the different run levels. Maybe we would like to move from one run level to another while the system is up and running. Well, first we need to know what run level we happen to be using currently, and there's a command for that called run level, and that will give us two different numbers. The first number will be the run level that we were at previously, and the second number will be the run level that we're currently running at. There's also a command called init, and in many distributions, this is the way to change between different run levels. In the distribution that I'm running, there is a tell init application that effectively does the same thing as init. Most administrators are set up to automatically just run tellinit because one of the things that tellinit does on a number of distributions is allow you to take the changes you've made to a init tab and apply those into the different run levels. Tellinit is something that was created just for that. That makes it very, very easy to take whatever changes we were doing inside of the new init tab and apply them so that we can use them in those different run levels. There's also some nice commands that take some of the run levels for shutting down a system or rebooting a system and adds other features to it. One of those is shutdown. If you were going to simply change to a run level 0 to shut down the system, you might want to tell your users that that's going to happen, and the shutdown program will send a message out to users. It will set up a time frame. You can say wait 5 minutes and then shut down the system. So there's some additional options there that allow you to customize some of the changes that you can make when you move from one run level to another. Whenever you're identifying run levels or changing between run levels, you'll want to be in a super user mode to do that. So I want to be at my super user prompt here. And to see what run level that we are currently at, we'll simply use the run level command. You can see the N, which is the run level that we were previously at, means none. We just started this system, so there was no previous run level since the system has been started up. And the 5 signifies that we are currently at run level 5. Well, let's use our tell init command to change that. Let's change this to run level 3. And on my distribution, run level 3 is one that doesn't have this graphical front end. So as we hit enter, you'll see that it is now removed the services that it usually had at run level 5 that we don't need at run level 3. And if there were any services that needed to start at run level 3 that weren't currently running in run level 5, it would start those up as well. Let's log in to our system, and you can see it's definitely a text-based front end on run level 3. I want to change now this system back to where we were. Maybe we'd like to reboot this system. So let's use that tell init command to move us to run level 6, which would also restart our computer. Now, one of the things that that would do is to immediately restart the system. We might not want to be quite that abrupt to everybody who might be using the computer right now. So we can use the shutdown command, and we can do things like add the -h command that specifies how long you would like to wait until you shut down. And you can even put in a message, system going down for maintenance, and hit enter. And now it's going to broadcast that out, tell you that the system is going to go down. It's going to give me 5 minutes, and now the system will completely halt. You can see that these different run levels give you a lot of flexibility on how you use your Linux operating system, and being able to control them is an important part of administering your desktops and your Linux servers.